Hello and welcome back to another exciting episode of Can It Take a K26, the show where I take a variety of Nerf blasters and see if they can be upgraded using a K26 spring. I'm your host, Captain Xavier. Let's see today's contestants. Our first contender is the Nerf Strike-Fire, aka the Crossfire, presumably named so because the dart holder forms an X, and anything with an X in the name is cool. This blaster was originally released in 2005 as part of the Dart Tag series. It features a reverse plunger and reverse rail, allowing you to attach it to the tactical rail of any other blaster. But the question we're all really curious is, can it take a K26? Well, let's find out. Well, to make a short story even shorter, no, the Strike-Fire cannot take a K26. It has a design very similar to the Scout, and thus there is simply no room inside for a K26, and this blaster is, in my opinion, not worth upgrading, so we're just going to put it back together and move on to the next contestant. Alright, that was a no on the Fire Strike, but if any of you are interested in having one, because it does have the reverse rail, I will put them on my Etsy page for spring upgrades and brass barrels and all of that jazz. So, there you have it. Let's bring out our next contestant. Our next contestant on Will It Take a K26? The Nerf Element Ex6. So named, of course, because the priming mechanism is external, anything with X in the name is cool, and it'll actually hold 6 darts, which is ridiculous. This blaster originally came out in 2008 as part of the N-Strike line. It features a direct plunger system and came with both a scope and a light, which for a pistol is, of course, kind of silly. But it's a neat scope, and I rather like it. But the question we are all asking is, can it take a K26? Well, let's find out. All right, let's take a look and see what we've got. Well, it looks remarkably similar on the inside to a Night Finder. Question is whether the plunger tube is large enough to accommodate some K26. Ladies and gentlemen, we have another winner. The Nerf Element Ex6 is in fact capable of taking K26. It will also, I assume the barrel will brass quite nicely. I only have one of these, but if anyone is interested, it will also be on my Etsy page. If more people are interested, I can, of course, source more. But there you have it. Let's see our next contestant. Our next contestant is the Nerf Sharp Shot. The Sharp Shot was originally released in 2011 as part of the Dart Tag series. It has a reverse plunger system, and its only other distinguishing feature is that it has no other distinguishing features. It has no tack rail, it has no gimmicks. It will, however, hold a total of 4 darts. But what we're curious about is whether or not it can take K26. So, let's do this. A very different trigger mechanism than I've ever seen before. And again with the reverse plunger, I'm dubious as to whether it'll be able to take any K26, but this is a larger spring, so unfortunately we have another example of the spirit being willing but the body being weak. This trigger mechanism, this slide catch mechanism, is simply too weak to be able to catch the K26 and hold it back. It just pops forward, and I'm frankly surprised it didn't break it. Which is tragic, as I really was hoping to have at least one slide-operated pistol that was able to be upgraded to that heavy. I have put a slightly heavier spring in it that it is able to catch, so that's better than nothing, but definitely can't take a K26. So let's button it up and move on to the next contender. Right, there you have it. Could not take a K26, but could take a lesser spring upgrade. I really like this design, just like the Scout. I find it to be very svelte, and I like the slide action. Definitely better with the spring. Definitely going to brass the barrel and take the air restrictor out and all of that. So this will be another one that will be available on my Etsy page, should you so desire. All right, on to the next contestant. For the final contestant of this episode of Can It Take a K26, we're going to go a little old school and bring out the Tech Target Eliminator. This blaster was originally released in 2003 as part of the 2003 series, and it fired the old Mega Darts. However, it was re-released as an N-Strike series with barrels designed for the Micro Darts. It is a direct plunger blaster, and so I have high hopes that it might be able to take the K26, but we're gonna find out for sure. Okay, easy air restrictor removal, that's always nice. Hole in the barrel, as is often the case, but that will get fixed when we brass it. This blaster actually has a reinforced back end to the plunger. All right, as I said, the Tech Target Eliminator can in fact take the K26. Nobody should be surprised by this. This is another blaster that is a very popular blaster for doing really heavy spring mods on, from what I have heard. This one will also get the brass barrel and will end up on my Etsy page. Again, it can be painted, or if you like the retro look, you can just keep it with that. So, all right, for those of you keeping track at home, let's go over the scores. That was a no for the Crossfire or Strike Fire, a yes for the Element Ex6, a no for the Sharp Fire, but a yes to a spring upgrade, and a yes for the Tech Target Eliminator. Once again, the ones that are getting upgraded will be available on my Etsy page when I get around to finishing that. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, ideas for future episodes, please leave them in the comments below, and thank you for watching this episode of Can It Take a K26?